Hi, I'm Rebecca from Ingvid, and today we're going to play a vocabulary game. Are you ready? Okay, this game is called Name the People Pairs. So I'm going to give you one person, and you have to tell me the other person, like maybe the opposite, or a person that often is associated with the first person. Okay? Now, this way you'll do two things. First, you'll learn more vocabulary. We're going to learn at least 20 new words, perhaps, and you'll have a chance to think about whether you already know this word or not, or else learn it, okay? Here we go. All right, so first person is an optimist. Do you know what an optimist is? Are you an optimist? I've always been an optimist. Do you know what an optimist is? Think about it for a second. An optimist is a person who always believes that good things are going to happen, okay? Expects the good, doesn't expect bad. But the opposite kind of person thinks the bad things are going to happen, that something's going to go wrong, something will definitely go wrong, is always worried about things going wrong, while this person is happily expecting the best and the good. So this is an optimist. Who's the opposite person? Do you know that word? It's called a pessimist, okay? An optimist, a pessimist. Are you an optimist most of the time? Are you a little bit of a pessimist? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Okay, think about it. All right, next. This word is extrovert. Who's an extrovert? An extrovert is a person who loves being around people. He or she gets their energy when they're with people, okay? They love going out, they love going to parties, they don't like staying at home or being alone very much, okay? They get their energy from being around people. Now, there's nothing good or bad in that, okay? Some people like that, being around other people. That's the extrovert. Who's the opposite? This person is called an, do you know what it is? Introvert, okay? Now, there's nothing good or bad. An introvert just enjoys being by themselves more. They get their energy by being alone, by being by themselves, okay? Sometimes, or it can mean that the person is a bit shy or something, but not always, not necessarily, and not so much these days, okay? Many people choose to be introverts. They might prefer to stay at home, okay, rather than go out to the party. All right. I'm sure you know people who are extroverts and introverts. Think about yourself. How would you describe yourself? Oh, there is, by the way, nowadays another word which I should mention, which is probably a little bit like how I am, an ambivert. An ambivert is somewhere in the middle, okay? An ambivert likes to be with people, but also likes to be alone, okay? So that's an ambivert. So if you can pick up that vocabulary word as well, do so. Otherwise, make sure you know these pairs. All right. The next word, landlord or landlady. So the landlord or landlady is the person who owns some property and usually rents it out perhaps to someone else who doesn't own property and therefore needs to rent property. So who is the person who rents property, who rents an apartment, rents a house, rents a business? It starts with a T. Do you know what that is? Perhaps you're a landlord or a landlady. Perhaps you're a tenant. Okay? A tenant. Say it after me. Tenant. Okay? So this is a person who rents something. Again, nothing good or bad, just to describe different kinds of people. Okay. Now, here's a long word. This is used a lot to talk about official things or to talk about business. This word is predecessor. Okay? You have a little prefix here with pre, which means something before. So what do you think, or who do you think is a predecessor? It's someone who had a job before someone else, who had that position before someone else. So for example, who was Trump's predecessor? It was Obama. right? Because Obama had that position before Trump. So he was his predecessor. But it doesn't have to be only to talk about presidents. It could be to talk about anybody in any job, okay? And what's the opposite of predecessor? This was the person who had your job before you. And this is the person who maybe gets your job after you. This is your, do you know? Successor. Okay? Successor. Say it after me. Successor and predecessor. Good. All right. So who was Obama's successor? Trump. And who was Trump's predecessor? Obama. All right? Next. Exporter. You probably heard this word. An exporter, what did that person do? Or that company? They send goods or products outside the country. Export. Okay? They export goods. That person is called an exporter. And what's the name for the person or company that brings goods into the country? Do you know? It's an importer. Okay? They import goods, bring them into the country. This person exports goods, takes them, or sends them out of the country. Exporter, importer. Repeat after me. Exporter, importer. Good. It's not just important to know these words. One of the best ways is actually to say them. Say them out loud, right? Let your mouth get used to pronouncing them correctly. Let your ears get used to hearing them, okay? When we say things, we make them much more belonging to us, okay? So do that. Next, this is from the world of law. Maybe you've watched some legal dramas on TV and you've heard this word. It's called prosecutor. So who is a prosecutor? The prosecutor is a public official or lawyer who officially charges somebody with a crime and takes them to court to try to prove that they are guilty. Okay? So this is the person who's trying to prove that someone is guilty. The lawyer that is trying to prove that. So what's the opposite, right? There's somebody who's trying to show you that the person who's being charged is actually innocent. So who has that job? There are actually two words here. So the first one starts with D. Do you know what it is? It's a defense attorney. Okay? Could be defense attorney, defense lawyer, defense counsel. But this person is trying to defend the person who has been charged with a crime, and this person is taking that person to court. So repeat after me. Prosecutor, defense attorney. Okay? Attorney is another word for lawyer. Now, I've written defense with an S. Remember that in England, they often write this word with a C. But either way, it's okay. All right. Now, here at the bottom, I've written a group of words for you, which you probably know. I didn't wait to write them out for you because they follow a pattern, which is pretty simple. So repeat after me. Employer is the person who gives somebody a job, right? Sorry, you repeat in a second. Employer and employee. So are you someone's employer? Do you give other people jobs? Or are you an employee? Do you work for someone else? Okay? Employer, employee. Trainer, trainee, the person who gives the training or does the training. And the trainee is the person who receives the training. Interviewer, interviewee. Okay? If you go for a job interview, you will be interviewed by the interviewer. And if you are the person who's being interviewed, then you are the interviewee. Okay? You can see that these all follow a pattern with the ER and the EE at the end. And also, if you've been for any kind of exam, you know these two people, the examiner and the examinee. If you're taking an exam, you are the examinee. If you're in charge of checking the exam or giving the exam, you are the examiner. So again, say these words after me. Ready? Employer, employee. Trainer, trainee. Interviewer, interviewee. Examiner, examinee. Good. Prosecutor, defense attorney. Good. Exporter, importer. Predecessor, successor. Good. Landlord, tenant. Yes. Extrovert, introvert. And optimist, pessimist. Okay? Now you could also use some of these words to describe yourself, to describe other people you know. That's a really good way to really absorb and confirm that vocabulary for you. Try to write some sentences with people that you know. Like let's say your uncle is a pessimist or your aunt is an optimist. I don't know. Or you are. Use the words to describe yourself. Write some sentences like that with people that you know. And it's a really good way to remember the vocabulary. But let's do a little test, kind of an interesting little game to see if you can figure out and remember who these people are exactly. Okay, so now let's play the game. And it works like this, okay? I'm going to say a sentence and you tell me who would say that, okay? For example, I bring goods into the country. I am an... Okay? What you can do is, if you want, just pause the video if you want to have a look at the words or think about it for a bit, because I'm going to proceed, but you can pause the video after I read the sentence, okay? So I bring goods into the country. I'm the importer. Good. The next one. I love going to parties. Where should we go tonight? Who's saying that? I'm an... Okay. Extrovert. Good. Okay. I pay $1,200 rent for this apartment. I'm a tenant. Good. I'll show you that this man is guilty. I'm the prosecutor. Good. I work at ABC Company. I'm an employee. Good. I'm sure everything will be just fine. I'm an optimist. I took over John's position when he retired. I am his successor. Good. I prefer being alone tonight. You go ahead without me to the party. Who is this person? Do you remember? Think about it. Okay. I'm an introvert, right? Good. Next one. I will prove this man is innocent. Who's saying that? I'm a defense attorney. Good. I'm sure something's going to go wrong. Something always goes wrong. Who is saying that? A pessimist. Okay. Try not to be a pessimist, okay? Be positive. All right. I send goods out of the country. That's what we do. Okay. I am an exporter. Good. I'm taking the exam. I'm the examinee. Good. I hired 10 people to work in my company. I am an employer. Good. I check the exam and give marks to the students. I am an examiner. Good. I charge $1,200 if you want to rent this apartment. I am the landlord or landlady. Good. And I had that position before she did. I am her predecessor. Okay. All right. So I think that some of these words are probably new for you. Perhaps you knew some of them. And if you want to master all of them, then, go back, check the lesson again if you want, use the words in your own sentences, connect them to people that you know, connect them to yourself to describe yourself. And this way you will master this vocabulary. Okay? And if you want to do a quiz on this, please go to our website, www.ingvid.com. There you can practice it so you can really master the words. And also check out more than, 1,000 other lessons that we have by different teachers on all kinds of subjects like grammar, vocabulary, the IELTS, TOEFL, pronunciation, everything that you want in English. All right? Thanks very much for watching, and all the best with your English.